Hi, my name is Wendy Marube, and I'm a book lover. I've always loved books. And now I'm a bookseller here at Somanami Books. For me, reading is companionship because you can never really be alone. When you have a book, you are with fictional characters, you are with real characters, you're surrounded by ideas, and really working in books is like a dream come true for me. I'm a lover of African lit, and that's my comfort zone. But it wasn't always the case. So I started out reading pretty young as I can recall. I think my first book I must have been in say class 3, like a 9-year old. That's the first book that I remember. I think it was Beauty and the Beast. You know the usual princess stories. So then I transitioned into like reading Mario Puzo, Sydney Sheldon, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Then come high school, where of course you do literature, you do fasihi, and I think that was my first intentional reading of African lit, and I've never looked back since. And right now, I am really loving what contemporary Africans are writing. You have so much that's good that is being written. For instance, there is this Booker shortlisted book by Maza Mengiste, The Shadow King, and it teaches a lot. First is historical fiction, which I forgot to mention this, but here it is. It's my favorite genre, historical fiction, because I find that I learn. I'm a bit of a history buff, so I like to know about the past and facts and stuff. But reading history like that can be a bit boring. So why not read it in fiction? So historical fiction tends to be my comfort zone. So I read this and I really loved it. Maza Mengiste's The Shadow King. But my first encounter with Maza Mengiste was when I read Beneath the Lion's Gaze, which was my one of the few books that I've read out of Ethiopia, and it was a really different perspective of a country that I had never been at the time, and it really got me interested to learn more about Ethiopia and or visit Addis Ababa. So it became like sort of an obsession until I went to Addis Ababa. I think in 2018, and it was just everything. So when you read about a place and then you go there, you feel like I've been here before. Between the pages. But yeah, so I'm really in love with African writers at the moment, and I think it's an affair that's going to continue. Another book that I'm planning to read by an author that I adore is Bad Sermons, which is a recent book by Leila Abulela. I've read two of her other books, a collection of short stories called Elsewhere Home, which gave me a glimpse of Khartoum like you've never seen. Oh, right, that I've never seen. Mostly when you read about Sudan, there's probably conflict attached to it, there's probably war. But this book was not anything about that. It was about home, belonging, longing, relationships, people planning their weddings. It was such a human view of Khartoum. I was just in love. So yeah, but this Espa is not set in Sudan, but it's about immigrants living in the UK, I believe, and I can't wait to read because I think she has a way with sentences. Yeah. My current read um, happens to be the other black girl, which is by Zakia Dadila Harris. She's an American, black American woman who's written I'm really liking this book for a couple of reasons. First, there's a lot of workplace drama, and just reading it, I keep reflecting through my own life, right? Like the places that I've worked in and all that dynamic. And I don't think I've read a book that goes into the nitty gritty like that. All the micro aggressions sometimes, all the perceived friendships or not, and how that affects a person's psyche or on their day to day. And really, work is a place where you spend a lot of your time, maybe more than you spend at home. So it does make up a big part of your life. So we are here today at Somanami, which really is a book lover's dream. And the book lovers is myself and Budoni and you really, because I think everybody that comes in through Somanami's doors, they always like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad this place exists. And that's a reaction that we were hoping for and that we're getting from everybody. So back a bit. So Somanami has a very interesting beginning story, which is that Mudoni and me met at a book club. And over the years, we we were loosely associating, but always around books. And then one big headache that we always had was that we were not getting some books that we really wanted to read. So we know these books are out. We can see the publishers promoting the books. We can see other book lovers around the world are reading the books, but are they in Nairobi? No. So that was a big headache for us. So we, at the beginning of this year, which is around January, end of last year towards the beginning of this year, Udoni and I were like, you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we just do this ourselves? Let's do a bookstore. And he's like, ooh, I don't know, are we ready? And so we did. Udoni always had a blog under www.somanami.co.ke. She always used to blog there, write her thoughts, very critical reader. um so by the way, if you when you after this video, please just go to www.somanami.co.ke, look at the blog section. This woman, yeah, magnificent thinker. So we added a store to Somanami, the blog, and or rather to the website, and that became our online store. And we brought in the books that we were really excited to read, which tend to be which were a lot of contemporary African books, and books by black people, by women. And so we have a couple of books that you are likely not to find anywhere in Nairobi, like Caribbean books. So for instance, we have How the One Armed Sister Sweeps Her House, which is a Caribbean book. We have The Mothers by Brit Benet. We have Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge. We have a couple of books across Africa. I, of course, have mentioned the book from Ethiopia, and again Sudan. We have books from Nigeria. I mean, basically, we are all about our African heritage, and I think that translates in how the space is laid out. So behind me, if you notice, we have a mood wall, which features some of the African greats when it comes to writing. So we paid homage to writers from the west, from the east, from the north, and the south, and captures the spirit of what this space is, which is a celebration of our heritage, of our Africanness, of home, really. Yeah, and the stories that um, come with being African and being home. So that's the spirit, and that's what we are hoping that everybody that comes in gets a wow moment, like, oh my gosh, yeah. As a book lover, I don't think you need convincing why you should come. But even if you don't think you're a book lover, I think you should just come to the spot. We are at Greenhouse Mall on the ground floor, West Wing, suite number 12. And we are open every day apart from Sunday from 9 to 6 p.m. So I always like to challenge people who think that they don't like to read. Like, come, I'll give you a book that you will convert you to be a book lover. Because I believe my philosophy is this, that you just haven't found the right book for you. So take me up on that offer and come to the greenhouse. Now, let's talk about books and wine. So one day in 2019, I'm sitting somewhere, just minding my own business, and I come across an ad for going for a wine tasting. And I thought, oh, this looks like a nice thing. I've always enjoyed wine, loved wine, but I never took it like seriously. So I went for the wine tasting, and it was such a pleasant experience. The lady who did the wine tasting, she talked about the history of wine, what makes wine taste how it does, the whole shebang. And then when I was sitting there, I was like, I would love for my friends to have this kind of an experience. And long story short, that's how Books and Wine was born. Because I got the idea, like, let me put together something for my friends to come. We'll have wine, but because you cannot be drinking the whole time, we'll talk about books. Again, like I said, like books for me are companions. So I put together Books and Wine in 2019. We had a really fun time. And then my friends who came were like, hey, you must do this again, because we got a sommelier to talk about wine, swirl, do the whole thing, and we had food pairing with the wine, and it was such a lovely experience. So they did not give me peace. They're like, we have to do this again. And so Books and Wine, the event space was born. So currently, what we do is that we meet at the village market. We have some book selections. So currently we have 4 book selections. That is Patsy by Nicole Dennis Ben. We have Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. We've selected Mom and Me and Mom by Maya Angelou. And also the last book is The Mothers by Brie Benet. So those are the books that we'll be discussing and featuring for the next Books and Wine, which is going to be on September the 11th. That's on a Saturday at the Village Market's Trademark Hotel. So those are the books that we'll be featuring. You have to come to see what the wine aspect is gonna be. But the last time we had such a blast. We tasted and went through 15 wines. Guys were just, yeah, it was lovely and everything. So I think for right now we can play a small game, a small wine books and wine game. Because like I said, books are companions for me, and some books you read and they make you think of certain wines. So if I was to do a book and wine pairing, I think for me the have of choice would be a Chenin Blanc, right? Because this book is about home. It's set in Kenya, and it's about home. It's about losing home, finding home, and the precariousness of it, right? And a Chenin Blanc for me is my comfort. Like if I'm drinking a white wine, if I have a choice, then that would be a Chenin Blanc, and it has such an aroma that just makes you happy. Like how if you smell home, like home has a smell, and for me that like I would pair have a of choice with Chenin Blanc. Um, hmm. Let's see what else we have here. So we have The Mothers by Brit Bennett. For me, I would pair this book with a Shiraz. A Shiraz wine is a dark, is a bold red that is very spicy, packs a punch, and it's not for everybody. And then if you read the storyline about in The Mothers, you have a very complicated relationship, friendship relationship, and so I think it speaks to that, that complexity, like things are not as they seem on the surface. So for a wine that's Ashira, which is tends to be spicy, layered, bold, reminds me of The Mothers. But they read The Mothers. I need more people to read Bene and start with The Mothers. Vanishing Half is also a really nice book, but for me, The Mothers is it. So if I was to another book that I really really read this year, too late to the party, but it's okay. I read this year is An American Marriage, which wow, like I after I read it, I was like, why did I not read this book many years ago? Okay, not too many years because it just came out, but as you can see, it has an endorsement by Barack Obama. He says moving, and truly, like one word, yes, moving. um, it's a book about a relationship that gets tested and gets tested and gets tested. And I think I would pair this with Cabernet Sauvignon, which is a red. another red, dry red, but very characterful. You know, like if you smell a cab song anywhere, like you know that's a cab song. Um, grounding. You know, I don't know what else, how else to say it, but it just for me it speaks to me like deep, moving, and that's a cab song for you. It's deep and it's moving. Yeah, so that's for my wine books and wine pairing game. If you've not read any of the books, I think you should. And if you've read the books and you feel like my pairings work or don't work, I think you can let us know in the comments, right? Another thing that we do at Books and Wine is that we have lovely accessories, wine accessories, like this very pretty glass that I have here. It's stainless steel, and this came about as a result of like my own personal struggles of trying to get like accessories, wine accessories that are class, that look nice, that are chic. Like when you go on a picnic, you don't want to carry your breakable glasses, but this carries very well. You can take it on a road trip, you can take it to a picnic, you can entertain without fear of breakages. And so we have a couple of such interesting things at the website, which is www.booksandwine.co.ke. So check out that website. It's also a really nice way of you to stay updated on what's happening, on the kinds of events that we are putting out. So we have a newsletter over there, so you can just sign up for the newsletter, and we keep you updated on what we are doing. And while there, why not get yourself some really nice booking accessories? Yeah. I'm really excited about what is happening in lit, especially in African lit. The kind of books that are coming out are so exciting, and you're likely to find them at Somanami. So follow us on Instagram at Somanami_KE. Follow us on Twitter at Somanami Books. Check out our website www.somanami.co.ke for all the latest in African lit. If you have any suggestions, also we love suggestions. Do inbox us on our social media. If you're watching this and you want to belong to a community of readers, then Somanami Book Club is a thing to consider, because we read one book a month, and we meet at the end of that month on the last Saturday to discuss the book. And we meet at our very nice, lovely location, which is the Somanami Book Hub. So come and check us out. You can also sign up on our site and to get notifications on what we're reading and where we're meeting, and all that on our Somanami website. And that's a really nice way to keep yourself accountable to what you're reading, to belong to our community, to meet interesting people. And yes, a book club is a great place to meet people. Lastly, I think everybody should read Marlon James. Yeah. And because Marlon respects nobody, especially the reader. So read to be shocked, read for your wig to be snatched, read for big books. I mean, like, I think I don't see enough people talking about him. Um, and I don't see why. So I'm here talking about Marlon James. Get this, the Book of Night Women, which I'm yet to read, but I expect nothing but greatness out of it. Read Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Read A Brief History of Seven Killings. And yeah, just start there and fall in love with Marlon James.